Clifton Wives. The Clifton Wives were out in force. Perfect Paula and her chums. Not a dyed blonde hair out of place. "Hello," they chorused, politely, but in tones that suggested the conversation was ending there. I gritted my teeth, staggering under the weight of a box full of discount lemonade bottles. "Hi," I replied. "Oh, are you running the Pym stall again?" Paula asked. "Yes," I said. It was really a cheap supermarket own brand, mixed with lemonade and fruit. Who would know? "Is Henry looking forward to his new school?" I asked Paula before the blondes flitted away to sip a better class of social nectar. That forced a smile out of her. "Yes, he's delighted. Well, must dash. Ciao." No thanks for the tutoring that secured Henry's place. I set about slicing oranges, strawberries, cucumber, mint. My customers wouldn't just have an alcoholic drink, they'd get their 5 a day. I nibbled on a strawberry as I recalled the school fair a year ago. Paula was tired and emotional in every sense after hitting the Pyms once too often. She almost had tears in her eyes. "I'm so worried about Henry's maths. He really wants to go to the big school with his older brothers, but he just isn't up to it. I think he'll fail the scholarship exams, and then he'll have to go to a comprehensive. You know how bad those schools are. Nobody gets any GCSEs. They all smoke fags and dope in the burnt-out ruins of the bike shed. At least he's a boy. The girls are pregnant by the time they're 14. I went to Ashton Park Comprehensive," I reminded her. "Exactly," she said, and then, too quickly, added, "Of course, you rose above all that with your degree in maths. It's easier for girls, isn't it? They just get on with work. Boys don't have the motivation." The delicious irony of her words, delivered by a woman who had never done a day's work in her life and relied on au pairs to mind her indolent children, was totally lost on her. "I may be able to help," I ventured. Paula's eyes brightened. "I heard you did some tutoring," she said, lowering her voice. She was looking around, making sure no one was listening, before she continued. "Could you see Henry once a week? That would be terribly, terribly good of you." We agreed on £25 an hour. I would come alone, having first taken my daughter back to the council flat we shared with Mum. Rosie and Henry would undoubtedly prefer that. They may have tolerated each other in the days when each had to invite their entire class to birthday parties, but at 10 years of age, they wanted nothing to do with the opposite sex. It was the first time I'd been invited to Paula's gracious stone house by the Downs. I understood all too clearly now how she had earned her nickname. "Do change your footwear," she trilled as I crossed the sparkling threshold. She had a selection of slipper socks next to the door, neatly stacked and smelling of lavender. "You won't tell anyone you're here, will you?" she asked. "You can rely on it." Discretion was my watchword. I was tutoring half her friends' children without mentioning it to a soul. Somehow, a whispering grapevine brought me the work. The Clifton Wives were all the same. Nothing must disturb the perfect images they presented to the world. Groomed faces, hunky husbands, accomplished children, and abundant possessions. Beneath that facade, Henry was hard work. Paula's husband was some sort of financier, but his numerate genes must have skipped a generation. I supposed poor Henry had inherited his father's looks and his mother's brains. We struggled through an hour before Henry gratefully returned to his Nintendo. "A glass of white?" Paula offered, handing over crisp notes. "Do keep me company. Guy's away all week. Why, I'm almost a single parent like you." She took a half-full bottle of Pinot Grigio from her silvery fridge, splitting the wine between 2 glasses. Cheers! Same time next Monday? Why do you do it? Mum asked, when, week after week, I returned home concerned at Henry's failures. Concepts that Rosie understood instantly, that even Henry's fellow tutees grasped with little effort, seemed alien to Henry. Patiently, he tried, looking longingly at his Nintendo or out of the window at his treehouse. I need the money. It was tough, paying for rent, food, clothes, clerk's shoes, on a teaching assistant's wage. My mother's scant invalidity benefit was a poor substitute for a man with a steady paycheck. Is that all? Mum wanted to know. Yes. No. It was the companionable glass of wine, the window into an easy life, a world that I wished was mine. During the school holidays, when I saw Henry 3 times a week, I even began to feel included in Paula's circle. Claire and Annie were 2 other blonde school mums, Ned a school dad. If it wasn't for him, the group could have been labelled Ladies Who Lunch. They didn't appear to do much else. A little light reading for the book group, some clothes shopping and salon visits. Paula's children relied on her au pair for their daily needs. The group accepted Paula's assertion that I had just dropped by, although Claire, whose daughter I had tutored the year before, raised an eyebrow. Does your wife work? I asked Ned. I'd never spoken to him before, and I assumed he was a house husband. No, our little daughter, new baby boy, and house renovations keep her far too busy. What do you do? Our Ned's a day trader, said Annie. That means he makes money trading stocks and shares. Any tips? I asked, emboldened. I'd like to make some money for my mum's hip operation. Ned laughed. You could try Imperial Products, he said. The look on Claire's face said it all. It was obvious I had no funds to invest in shares. If only I could make a quick killing. My mother desperately needed the operation, and it would be years before her name appeared at the top of the NHS list. Without a windfall, she had as much chance of paying for it privately as of trekking to the North Pole. Joke, I said, apologetically. Ned lightly changed the subject. Fancy a game of poker? I don't know how to play, I said, realising all the women were speaking in unison. Time for me to teach you Texas Hold'em, he riposted, reaching in his pocket for cards. I was a quick learner. My, you're a natural, Ned said. It's all about tracking the odds, isn't it? Perhaps you should show Henry, I said. He might understand the point of maths if he could use it to win card games. I needn't have worried. The sheer quantity of our lessons overcame the quality of Henry's numeracy, and he passed the exam with flying colours. Now, the school fair was happening again, and here was Ned, wheeling a blue stroller. A glass of your finest Pimm's, my dear, he said. Don't stint on the strawberries. Maybe Sebastian would like one. He looked at the child. Oh no, he's asleep. At least Ned was happy to chat. Where's your wife? Ran off with the builder. I say, another glass of Pimm's might be nice. I racked my brain for safer ground. Is your day trading going well? I asked. What's that? Buying and selling shares? Ned laughed. Oh, Paula was making that up. I'm really her cocaine dealer. He lowered his voice conspiratorially. Ever wondered why she's so loud and aggressive? What about Imperial Products? The shares tripled in value after you told me about them. Shame I didn't buy any. He looked amazed. Did they? I had no idea. He was still adept at changing the direction of a conversation. "How's your mother?" he asked. "Good. She's just had her hip operation." Was he really a cocaine dealer, or just having a gentle laugh? Or even, could he be Telegram Sam, my online nemesis? Whatever else he might be, his Texas Hold'em lessons had opened my eyes to the possibilities offered by my maths degree. I was deriving a steady income from online poker. Okay, I had to watch the smarter players like Telegram Sam, but mostly I was cleaning up against bored housewives. A house by the Downs might not be a pipe dream after all. Ned stretched and yawned. "That's great news. Well, I'd better circulate and find my 7-year-old daughter." He smiled, and it seemed almost as an afterthought, asked, "Do you fancy a drink later?"